Hello, this is Greg Allison with Green Greg's coming to you on late night, 13 December 2020. And I got to ask, did Comrade Trudeau invite the Chinese Communist Party's People's Liberation Army to train with them cold weather training last year? What's going on? There's been lots of reports and lots of people, a lot of buzz out there on the internet about Chinese troops in Canada. Whether they're there, they're not there, but this training invite apparently was real. So, and what does it mean? What does it portend for us? So, ladies and gentlemen, I keep telling you that this is a strange time we're coming into, and you really need to consider being prepared for it. Fortunately, in this case, it seems that the head of the Canadian military thought better for these exercises and canceled them, much to the angst of inside forces in the Canadian government, to include Prime Minister Comrade Trudeau. So, so into this we're going to go. But first, I will say to this: hey, there is an opportunity for you to get ready, to get prepared, and I have a special of hey, smash my keyboard. PrepWithGreg.com. You go to PrepWithGreg.com. You can get this 4-week supply of food that lasts 25 years. This is the 2-week bucket. You get 2 of these 2-week buckets for $100 off. You can't beat it. It's a great deal. Go to PrepWithGreg.com, and this stuff is lightweight. It is freeze-dried. It is real food, not MREs. Yeah, I had to eat those MREs. I didn't like them. I like the old sea rats. But all that said, you can also go in. Oh, I think I got it on my phone. Hold up. Let's see. Yeah, you can put it up on your phone. PrepWithGreg.com. See? And if you want to see the other things that's available there on PrepWithGreg.com, all you got to do is click the logo there on top, and it takes you to all the other good stuff that's available. Oops, there's a timer in here. You can see you get breakfast, lunch, and dinner, for which you'll be a winner. Right now, the price is unbelievably cheap. The $100 off deal. But don't expect that to remain. I'm expecting that to go like all of the food prices right now. I can't believe they kept it that cheap that long. Oh, but order by the 15th if you want to get Christmas deliveries. To get them delivered by Christmas to you yourself, your family members, great gifts. Order by the 15th of December. So that's coming real fast. All right, a couple days. Probably a day by the time you see this. So order quick. All right, enough said for that. Now, what is going on with this? Now, some of you may have heard me talk a little bit in the past. There were these reports of 10,000 Chinese troops around Vancouver, and video of somebody passing a patrol marching on the highway coming from behind them. Well, the truth of the matter was, in that case, that was girls, school-age girls dressed in military uniform, because they were actually going to a military academy. It's so typical for wayward youth to kind of get them back in line. As you know, Vancouver does have a lot of rich parents, just like so many other places. It's an affluent city, and they do have a very large Oriental community there. And it just happens that rich parents often send their kids to these military schools, and sometimes parents that in D homes and other places also send kids to schools like that. But it's pretty frequently practiced by families that have more money than time to raise their kids maybe the way they ought to. Well, maybe they just got so wrapped up in their busy lives, and they can't handle how the society tries to raise their kids for them, and it creates problems. And so off they go to military academy to get an attitude adjustment. Well, that's what was happening with those kids, because that was actually not a military troop. They were just in a military school getting the discipline that their parents deemed they needed. And I'm not going to say that's a bad thing at all, because quite often an attitude adjustment might be a good thing. Yeah, I've had mine. I'll join the Army. Everybody should. So if you can. Well, I don't know, today's Army, where it might go, no, I take that back, But the training is certainly eye-opening. So what else is going on? So that's not all there is to what's happening, because there are reports that, in fact, Prime Minister Trudeau did indeed invite Chinese troops to train, to do winter training with the Canadian military last year in 2019. So, and in fact, that's been documented, and the documents were obtained by an organization known as Rebel News. They had done a Freedom of Information Act, and they got things sent to them that weren't entirely properly redacted. They were supposed to be in secret documents. So that is the interesting thing that came out. And in Canada, they have what they call the Department of Global Affairs. And as it turns out, that the chief of defense in Canada, General Jonathan Vance, he had actually canceled this training. He went against it. And the Department of Global Affairs within Canada pushed back against that decision last year when he cut that training. They didn't like it. Prime Minister Trudeau didn't like it. They pushed back. So, but fortunately, their push was a little late and it didn't happen. So then it was a case that seemed that the Canadian government was more interested in saving face, because they didn't want to make Xi Jinping look bad. And so, I don't know, that was kind of strange affairs. That's kind of what they were stating. So what happened is the publication Rebel News, their founder, Ezra Levant, he said the documents were accidentally released to him during his Freedom of Information request, and that the Globe and Mail had asked the Canadian government not to report portions of the documents that were unredacted. Now, Mr. Levant actually posted them on the internet, but they were since taken down. It just so happens that the United States got wind of this stuff before it happened, and they had serious concerns about it, and they petitioned the Canadian military not to do it. And they had a lot to do with General Vance counseling those exercises. And General Vance also kept the Canadian military from participating in the the 2019 military World Games held in Wuhan, of all places. Yeah, China, in October. Yeah, just before all this stuff broke out. There were these big military game exercises, kind of like a military Olympics, that China was staging in Wuhan. Interesting. Anyway, so this turns out that a lot of people, Michael Chong, actually one of the conservatives in Canada's foreign affairs critics, and James Bezin, both slammed Justin Trudeau, talking about his stunning lack of leadership over his support for these exercises and the way he reacted to their cancellation. And they went on to say, clearly the Prime Minister and Liberal ministers are more concerned about how Beijing might react than defending Canadian interests. The Liberal government has become so timid that they can't even say no to Chinese soldiers arriving in our territory. And Levant actually went on Tucker Carlson's news show, Tucker Carlson Tonight, last Thursday, to talk about this stuff when the story broke. And what they said, let me get some coffee here. He said this, he said, the cold weather warfare that you're referring to was one of just 18 different joint projects the Canadian Armed Forces had with the People's Liberation Army in 2019 alone. He said Canada is training 1 or 2 star generals, not 1 or 2, but 1 or 2 star generals. So there's training 1 and 2 star generals, not 1 or 2 generals. 1 and 2 star generals, Chinese generals in Canadian war colleges. It says they're training lieutenants, majors, commanders. We're sending Canadians over to China, and we're bringing Chinese, he says, I think not just soldiers, I think spies as well, to Canada. He says, I don't know a single person in this country who knew about it, but that's been happening, and we found out about it literally by accident when the government sent me the Freedom of Information documents and forgot to black out them, or maybe frankly somebody inside the government wanted to blow the whistle on this incredibly upside down relationship. So he thinks somebody inside might have just let it go through because they weren't happy about it and wanted to blow the cover. And that can happen. He said, in those same memos, you're talking about Trudeau's office was supporting China and condemning the Trump administration. And he said it was upside down. It was inverted morally. It's sweeping all the way down into our bureaucracy, our diplomacy, and they're trying to get the military on side too. That's what Vance said. But anyway, so, and he went on to say, in these memos, you can see the Trump administration warned Canada that the winter warfare training would transfer knowledge to China that could be used. Now, they don't explain it would be used to take on the Uyghurs in Xinjiang, Tibetans to fight India and the Himalayas, or even fight us. And when the military Chinese, the Canadian military said our American allies, our allies are concerned about this, Trudeau's staff pushed back and said, it's just Trump administration. Or is anyone else worried about it? So anyway, it goes on. Okay, so why be concerned about this? Because China is not a cold weather nation. Why do they need cold weather training for defense? No, that's for offense. China's military is aggressive, and they're getting extremely more aggressive. That's what they don't need cold weather training for defense of the main area where the Chinese people live. Okay, they got a little bit of territory up in the Himalayas they're trying to take more control over, but that don't justify major cold weather training initiative. So what is this really all about? We have cold regions. We have Alaska. There's Canada. We have our dew line. The Chinese have been expressing a whole lot of interest in the Arctic region because of the resources there. What do they have up their sleeves? What do they want? What do they plan? Why in the world would you let them in to train and learn these things that you're best at? Why do you want to train your potential adversary in the knowledge of the things that you're better at? And why would the United States want to say it? What kind of friends do we have in Trudeau? Comrade Trudeau. What kind of guy is this guy? What is he all about? Why would he do this? I want to show y'all some things here. Give me a second. I have to open up my window here where I can bring it to you. Give me a second. Scroll to this. Ding, 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 ding. All right, hang on. And then I got to hit the share screen. And bing. So here we are, my friends. Here's Comrade Trudeau. And look at these Chinese women. Look where they're looking at him. Oh my gosh. Oh, they're happy with this guy. Like they want a piece of him. He was quite happy to be reviewing these Chinese troops. And look, they all actually have real bayonets on their rifles. You know, we didn't train with bayonets on our rifles in the military, and they're also very ceremoniously dressed out too. Of course, these are ceremonial rifles. Holy smoke, with bayonets. They're not even rubber bayonets. Look if he's listening. So let me show you some more stuff. Let's show you Comrade Trudeau. Now, some people actually think that he might be related to Castro, Comrade Trudeau. Is Comrade Trudeau related to Castro? Look at the resemblance. Look at these resemblances. I've seen more photographs of resemblances, but you know, couldn't be. Well, if you go back to Wikipedia, in Wikipedia, you can of course check out the ancestry, the history theory of Mr. Trudeau, and you can check out his mama and his daddy. So have a look at him. Look at that face. Now come down here and look at his father, and just tell me how much resemblance do you see? Man, these guys don't look nothing alike. They have a little mousy face. Oh my gosh. They don't look nothing alike, do they? Come on. So let's go look at the mama. Might look a little bit more like his mama, but he really looks like Castro. But I was noticing, there's his mama, the only lady in Canadian history to have been both married to a prime minister and to have one as a son. So I guess she's celebrating that. But here's what's really strange. You go to her early years here and things going on, talked about how Trudeau was chasing her when she was 18-year-old, somewhere in here. And they talk about when they first got married and were having traveling and going to islands in the Caribbean. Where is it? Yeah, flower shower. See, they met in the Caribbean to start with. And, Tahiti. See, they met in Tahiti. And let's see. Where is it at here? This said somewhere in here it talks about them going to an undisclosed island. It doesn't name it. Where is it in here? I saw it earlier. Oh yeah. In 1971, Trudeau took a second honeymoon in Caribbean to Barbados and an unidentified nearby island. Then Tobago said, okay, name everything, but an unidentified nearby island. Well, could it just be that they went to visit Castro? Well, there she is, and guess who that is? Ta-da! Is that his son? Is he holding his son, his bouncy baby boy? Turns out they went to Cuba quite a bit. His social media wouldn't be covering that up, though, would it? No, of course not. They wouldn't do that. Social media cover this up? No, they wouldn't cover up that he went to see Castro, and that Castro coddled him. Margaret Trudeau, known to have been unfaithful to Pierre Trudeau. Yeah, and where did she go? Did she go to Castro? Yeah, there's a number of articles out there. I don't know. I'm just speculation, but I would say this face looks a whole lot more like that face than Mr. Mousy Man, Pierre Trudeau. See, Mr. Mousy Man, Pierre Trudeau. A mousy looking face. Oh well. Okay, I shouldn't do that. That's starting to sound like a Democrat here. Always cutting people down for the looks. Now the whole point is that they just don't resemble each other that much. This guy here doesn't seem to resemble his son too much, at least from that photograph. Now, so is in fact Justin Trudeau the son of Pierre Trudeau, or is Justin Trudeau the son of Castro? Trudeau, Castro, castor bean, castor oil. Interesting. Yeah, they kind of strike the same poses and looks. I've got another collage picture of them that shows a lot more comparisons than that. I don't know, guys, but you know what? It does have the appearance that Comrade Trudeau sure does like the commies. Look at that look on his face, looking at him in admiration. So, my friends, I don't know what's going on here. What I do know, let me end this. I don't know what's going on here. But we do know that the Canadian military is training generals and officers in the People's Liberation Army. That's not good. We know that they were prepared to do major military exercises for the People's Liberation Army to do northern warfare training, cold weather training just north of the U.S. border. That didn't happen thanks to General Vance. Maybe other things have happened, as our friend Curtis Stone has pointed out. There are treaties and agreements wherein the People's Liberation Army can indeed bring troops into Canada, according to Curtis Stone. Wow. So a lot of people are afraid and worried about an invasion from China. I get this in a lot of my comments on my channel. A lot of people are worried about that. So could it happen? Well, actually, I did a video on how they could just do it with their ISO shipping containers and all their big ships. They could do a sneak invasion on us before we even knew it, if they so chose. But they wouldn't do it while we're up and running full bore as we are now. They would EMP our country probably before they do something like that. And I would say that they would probably EMP the United States and then just not do anything for a year and let us fight amongst each other and wipe each other out and starve and die as much as we could, and then come. They might be seen as liberators, especially on our left coast. And in Canada with Trudeau, I don't know what would happen with Trudeau, which way Trudeau would go. But I do know that this is a question. It's a big question mark. I would hope that the people in Canada would see the folly in this. The people in Australia are waking up to the challenges of China. And there's a trade war between Australia and China. And I'm going to do a video on that soon. And I would really hope the United States and other Western nations would step up there and give Australia a hand. We need to help Australia out. They're in a bind. It so happens their biggest trading partner was China. And now they're regretting it. China has put sanctions on them just because they don't like the way Canada's acting. Because Canada wanted to know, well, what are you doing with human rights? What happened? How did this bug get started? Shame on Australia just for asking some simple little questions. Oh my gosh, did China punish the heck out of them? It shows you the heart and intent of China, and it shows you the big warning of what you might get if you trade with the devil. And there's countries all over this world that are trading with the devil right now, and they're going to regret it. I will tell you that they're going to regret it if they don't back off. The best way to contain China, and I'll do a video on this in the future, is just that. Don't trade with them. Deny them those things. Just well, they need to be isolated again. This dragon needs to be kept in a pen. And when I say China, I'm talking about the People's Republic of China. The government, as controlled by the CCP. The people of China deserve liberty. There's plenty of really good, smart, well-meaning, good-hearted people inside mainland China under the rule of the People's Republic of China. Also, there's another China, the Republic of China on Taiwan, which predates the People's Republic of China. It's not a breakaway province. People's Republic of China is an insurgency. So, yeah, don't give me this breakaway public junk. It's not the case. It is not true. Absolutely not. That's a fact. Now, that all said, we need to be ready. We need to be prepared. And China, if the world can wake up, can be kept from taking the whole world. But if we don't wake up, we're in trouble. The problem is they play greed and control games against people everywhere. That they appeal to people's sense of greed. They lure people in. They lure in governments and the leaders in lots of governments. And they use blackmail against them and many other things, anything they can to keep advancing their cause. So it's time to wake up and say, nope, we're not going to take that. We're just not going to take it. It's a real shame. There's such potential in the people and the country there to be ruled by government like that. It's just such a shame, such a shame, such a disappointment, such a loss of opportunity, because the Chinese people have a lot to offer this world. It would be nice if we could just trade with them freely and not have to think about all this mess. But unfortunately, they're taking what we're buying from them and investing in their military. And they have a very aggressive agenda. If they were being purely defensive, that might be different. But that is not what they're showing the world. If they're showing it, it's interesting. The fact that they'd show it this much while they're trying to curry favor with the world is interesting. What's going to happen when they'll have to curry favor with the world? That's what I want to know. Yeah, they'll probably back down for a little bit. If they've advanced their little sphere, they'll probably back down a little bit, let the world get relaxed and advance again. That's what I'm thinking. Or they just may go for broke. Let me say, this is it. We got to grab it now. Go for the brass ring. Yeah, I need to do a report on these amphibious landers they're doing too. Yeah, there's a lot to cover. There's so much to cover on China. I've ignored them for a few weeks, but the news in that quarter is really piling up. Things with Australia, things with their ambitions for super soldiers, really? might combine that with my Monkey Minds video. Sometimes, guys, I do videos you know, that have a serious threat in them that we need to prepare, we need to prep. But sometimes I wrap it in a funny story, you know, like the 10 days of doomsday. Come on, guys. Well, the funny story in that was this whole notion that's tied to Julian calendar and Gregorian calendar being 8 years apart. No, they're not. They're just a few days apart. 14 days. That's it. 14 days is all there is to that. I'm surprised big, not ginormous channels get away with stuff like that, but they do. 14 days. That's all the difference there is. That's not to say that something might not happen. It is winter solstice, and it's a perfect time to hit a country like America if you want to hit them with an EMP attack. And right now, Elliot Abrams has been warning Iran not to send missiles to Venezuela. And my friend Stacey Zavicki has had these visions about missiles launched offshore from Venezuela. Wow. Don't mean that's got to happen. Well, what it really means is we should have got a power grid hardened. I've been pushing for that for 4 years now, and I got friends have been pushing a lot longer than that. Yeah, there's some progress getting made in the Carolinas, thanks to Ambassador Hank Cooper, who used to run that program, Strategic Defense Initiative, that I used to work under him, way under him, when he ran that program. I brought him on this channel. I have actually brought you top officials, top of civilian officials from the Pentagon, Department of Defense, right here on my channel. And anybody got any views? The one guy telling you how to harden a grid. You'd rather hear me scream, "Oh my God, the sky's falling," than my videos for how to fix it all. That's what this channel is about, fixing things. I do have hope, but we have to be prepared. Don't be scared, be prepared. All right, I beat on this stuff enough. But that's what I'm trying to do, guys. Why I do the 10 days of doomsday? Well, because we could get hit with an EMP attack. That's a valid way. Look, we're the king of the hill, and a lot of countries don't like that. They really don't like it. There's people inside here that don't like that. They want to take us down. And there's no more effective way to do it than that. Of course, if they don't do that, the sun will get us. And it might get us soon because she's ratcheting up. She's coming out of her sleep stage and she's coming out fighting. She's punching. She's punching and punching hard for this early in the solar cycle. And I mentioned that there's a study group that said that the sun is going to be more active this time than it has been maybe in recorded history. Well, the way it's coming out of the sleep cycle, they may be on to something. Time will tell. But my friends, we got to get this grid hardened. It's time to start really pushing it. So more on that in the future. And I am working. I am involved in organizations to do that. So I'm not just sitting out here trying to scare everybody. We're trying to get things done. I mean, we got, you know, you can't, if you put your head in the sand, nothing's going to happen. Let's get our head out of the sand and just get things fixed. That's what I'm asking for. But in the meantime, in case we don't get things fixed, get ready, get prepared. Don't be scared, be prepared. Anyway, I beat on it enough. I beat on it. I get attacked for being negative. No, I'm trying to get things done, okay? All righty, guys. So we're here to save the world. I've said a few of the times, saving the world is kind of like trying to save a suicidal drunk. I think we might just get there because in the end, we win. All right, my friends. With all that, I'm going to say, oh yeah, subscribe to my channel. Bang that notification bell and click all. And check my links below to support my channel. Watching and sharing my videos because we're trying to save the world.